Ooh, what it do, internet? Welcome one, welcome all. Sorry, I know I'm like extraordinarily late from what you might be accustomed to. Uh, but yeah, it's been one of those weeks. Um, Started a designer run yesterday, which was yesterday. Today was pretty open, but it was just busy dealing with other stuff. First day off in a minute, I just uh, took it first. I mean, slept in for the longest sleep I've gotten in a good minute. Um, but yeah, I was having long. Um, oh shit! Stream feedback. This so one of the streams ended. All right, I was having a good conversation with a bunch of people from different nations. So initially, I was approached after a karaoke performance by an American cat. He was commenting on my performance and the genre I chose, the era, because other people started like playing. Oh shit! Trying to reconnect. What is going on? Yeah, so it was a conversation started about uh, which site is this? Facebook's down. Facebook's down. I repeat, Facebook down. Now it's back. Um, yeah, so we started a conversation just about pop culture stuff. Then just like me, I always just take it to just how toxic our culture is, dissecting the culture. If you know rewinds, employee evaluations, it's just like it's a lifestyle choice for me. So, but while we were talking, it was a group of like just international friends. So it was a Canadian, it was Australian, and a British person. And yeah, so when I started like talking about the American culture, yeah, it was first it was a Canadian dude who chimed in, thought he was American, and he's just like, yeah, it's just so fucked up here, and they got all their issues with Trudeau and shit. But one thing they don't do, and something that the American cat started doing, he was just like, yeah, America's bad, because we got people like Trump. Now I'm no fan of Trump. He is not in office, right? And it's just not like we didn't have shitty politicians before him. And when I say before him, I mean since the founding of this fucking country, we're run by the biggest psychopaths, um, biggest businessmen. Like George Washington was the richest man. He was like, I don't want to pay the king. I want to become the king. I want them to pay me, my subjects to pay me. So it's just like, yeah, they created a system that benefited a small group of, some people say elite. I prefer the term apex parasites, people who contribute nothing, but they extract wealth from the essential workers in our society. But it's just like, yeah, not only do you don't have to go all the way back. I mean, the most recent president before Trump was shit. Barack Obama. I do not view him as a saint. Only Democrat I voted for once because he tricked me once. 2008. Did not fall for that scam again. All right, that's when the nation moved from being run by white supremacists to corporate supremacists. Now it's similar to white supremacy. It's just they get colored people to acquiesce to their systems of dominance. Then they bring like a color box of crayons of diversity. Now it's just like they don't want the diversity. Now it's just the powerful white men are just saying they're women. So now they're the new oppressed class, and we have to like follow their dictates, or you're a trans hater, or if they change their religion to Judaism, you're anti-Semitic, right? It's a tool used to shut down dissent. Um, and they experienced that in Canada when the truckers started to protest. They started actually affecting business. Then they had all this support. They raised millions of dollars that was stolen from them. and the money was stolen by the government because they said that that was an anti-Semitic movement. It was a racist movement to not want uh, a medical experiment forced into your veins. That you're racist if you don't trust these pharmaceutical companies that have been criminal since before I was born, and they just pushed the opioid epidemic, got rich, poisoning our streets, getting people addicted to their drugs, not medicines. Medicines actually heal you. Drugs, they're looking for a new customer. And yeah, and it's just like we subsidize these crooks. And then with that money, we fund our own oppression because they steal our ability to point out the fact that they are criminals. And we learned that, like Canada learned that with their trucker movement. But the cat, like he was a Canadian cat, like we were just going into a lot of stuff. He understood, like because the British dude, he was like, yeah, we're just America's bitch. We're America's bitch. I'm like, no, we're your bitch. Like is never we've never stopped really being Britain's bitch. It's just like when we had our Lend-Lease program signed back in the 1930s, leading up to World War II. That's when we became big Ukraine, big Israel. Because started off with just making weapons for these psychopaths so they can kill people and steal their shit. Then it's just like, this is big business. The biggest businesses in the world plotted a coup on our government. Smedley Butler talked about it. You might be sick of me going into that. Read War is a Racket if you don't know the scam being pulled. But we've been bamboozled. Our whole economy is based on killing people. So it's just like for you to get a house, get an education, basic shit, Medicare, basic shit other countries take for granted, you got to kill people. That's why we were hanging out. I was joking because they were talking about America, you guys are the only people with these crazy gun laws, and you got all these shootings. And then I pointed out, yeah, we got a lot of people who are trained to kill in the streets. A lot of these homeless people are former veterans, and they went through boot camp that took away their humanity in some respects. Some of them had moral injury that caused them to have suicide because they did some shit that really didn't vibe well with them. Some of them they were in their element, but those are the ones who get rich. The ones in the streets, it's those are the ones who just they probably couldn't continue to go on to kill people. They had something that rubbed them the wrong way. If we're lucky, sometimes they might be just secret killers, and who knows? I mean, that's why we got all these gun deaths. But the American dude, he was like, nah, I gotta have my gun. And I was like, nah, I step it up. I go an extra level. I don't got the gun. I got the Predator drone app. It's like Uber Boom. So it's just you order it like Uber, but just the destination you choose is just blown up to bits, and that's how I make my extra money. I'm a Uber Boom flyer. So I kill a bunch of brown people. The newest project, we just wipe out anybody with a Palestinian flag. And they didn't realize I was joking for a minute. But it was just fun to just pull their leg, because all you gotta do is say, I work for Boeing, so we on that cutting edge tech. It obviously sounds plausible, since a lot of these people who create the drone software, they also work on shit like Call of Duty. So it's an easy transition from killing people digitally to really doing the damn thing. That's why when if you're one of the top ranking Call of Duty players, you get a signing bonus for joining the military as a drone operator. It's man, you're top 5, that's 6-figure bonus signing bonus. So something to consider. I'm just assuming this, but it's very plausible to me. So it's got to be some synchronicity between the government and the games. That's my assumption. But yeah, a lot of the stuff the cat from UK, like he was complaining about. He was like, yeah, it started over here. And I was like, yeah, this is the experiment. They see what they can get away with on us with, and then they bring it to you. And it's just like United Healthcare. It's a criminal organization that deprives people actual life-saving medicines and operations, all this shit. But they pad their pockets with stolen money, and they're spending millions of dollars that they're taking from us to try to privatize UK's health system. And he was feeling the effects of that, and it's just like maybe he didn't make that connection, but it's just like, yeah, we are very much a lab to experiment on what they can get away from or get away with in other countries. But then again, like a lot of the countries that we invade illegally, that's the lab for us. So like they move to South America and like start killing enough people, get them scared enough, like they just put this new system of extortion on them, and they're like, okay, and people are they're not making too much noise. Oh, they are making noise over there. Let's get the dictator to kill them. Let's start a junta that just goes down and marauds anyone who's complaining, and then people start complaining, and they normalize the new system, and then they think that there's not going to be a revolution. With us, we a big component for keeping Americans docile is, like I said, the opioid epidemic that was pushed on us by the pharmaceutical companies that are robbing us. They learned that shit, how it affects people during the opium wars when they were pushing that shit in China. And China was like, man, China seeing like the rise in fentanyl zombies. That the equivalent of that time is just like, God damn, all these damn zombies, where's this coming from? It was coming from the British. And then they were like, nah, you can't do this to our people. And then they went to war over it. And, the British carved out a piece of China, Hong Kong. It was released 1997. And now they're trying to, they never really let it go. It's, Western powers have been in there for a minute, but they want to turn Hong Kong into the next Ukraine, next Syria, next just colonial project, because they think that they can compete with China, even though we are completely dependent upon them to make everything that we need, because all of our manufacturing was gutted by these crooks who run our government. And it's just, it's definitely a recognition. Because like I was saying, the American cat, he kept like, man, and Trump is just not helping our situation. I'm like, yeah, Trump's not in office, but I just kept saying, I'm like, yeah, good thing we got Joe, and then like they were talking about like the fentanyl, all these people was just like, you don't know if somebody's gonna hit you with a car because they doped up or whatever, and I was like, nah, I just imagine that Joe Biden is in every one of those cars. And I know that they're going to get home safely. That's how I make myself calmer. I just imagine Joe and Hunter Biden driving every car. And then like the British dude was like, he was understood I was poking fun at the fact that this motherfucker was obsessed with Donald Trump. Like he was the end all be all of the reason why America's so fucked up. Yeah, but then it was made clear by everybody who was from a different country. They don't think that Joe Biden is a great president. This may shock you. Like the people who voted for the lesser of two evils, they were like, yeah, Joe Biden is what we need because, Donald Trump is that bad. Like Joe Biden will make us look good in the rest of the world's eyes. People, that was actually like some shit that was said on the news. Like Trump has made us look so bad. We need someone like Joe Biden to just like, just raise America's standing in the world. Because Trump was racist. We need old Klan loving Joe. He gives eulogies at Klan members' funerals. He created the mandatory minimums that locked up so many colored people, while his son was a ravenous crackhead, counting up 21 grams of crack to his prostitute, getting away with it. You know, you got to have sympathy for his son. But all those people who are still in jail for the policies that Joe Biden created specifically to target the communities he did not like, because he, like, you know, going back to the anti-segregation days, or I guess pro-separation. Joe Biden said he didn't want to segregate the schools. He didn't want to integrate the schools because he was worried that his kids would grow up in a jungle. He called it a jungle because those colored people, there are some jungles, some jungle bunnies. Yeah, so it's just yeah, that's how we fight racism. The racism of Trump is with Joe Biden. Other people from other countries understand how ridiculous that is, you know, and they accept, like, when they have a bad president or bad leader, it's just like, you know, they like fuck Justin Trudeau. They're not saying, you know, like, our country's bad because the guy before Justin Trudeau. That's not how they see the world. And it's just well, you know, especially out here when people talk about, like, they can't talk about how bad shit is without acting like it's somehow just Trump, even though he's not in office right now. And it's just like, I would be off, like, that's what I'll say. My saying is, I don't vote Republican. But there are, yeah, it's just too big a number of people who still like preface everything with Trump is bad. I don't fuck with Trump, and that's pretty hurtful for me. Blackface Trudeau. Now Trudeau. Here's the thing about Trudeau. Trudeau is the first black prime minister of Canada. He wears whiteface most of the time, so he's racist towards white people because he's naturally just highly melanated. Because he calls out people for being racist. That's why he said the truckers, they can't protest because they're racist. And then, you know, when he was plotting the Nazi with the rest of their government, it was because he was an anti-racist Nazi. That makes sense. And you gotta keep in mind, Nazis are a minority. So he's like protecting a minority community by celebrating Nazis. But then, like, when we start seeing the majority coming out, you know, like waving flags, that's like the bad kind of Nazis, because they're the majority. And they're like saying, hey, don't inject us with stuff. But it's just like the Nazis, they love injecting people with stuff. That's why, you know, the Nuremberg codes exist. You know, like the first one is like you need informed consent for any medical procedure. Nazis wanted to repeal that, and COVID was a great time to do it, because once again, Nazis are a minority, and we need to respect the minorities. And the majorities of people who do not want Nazis injecting them with stuff, they're the bigots for not respecting the minorities. So that's how we need to rephrase this. That's how Trudeau rephrases it. That's why everyone loves Justin Trudeau. Nah, and when I was saying that, I kept implying, like, you know, like, oh yeah, you're Canadian, so you love Justin Trudeau. And they would get offended. They're like, nah, fuck no. Oh, and it was, well, what you call it? The British dude, I think he got on a list somehow, because, you know, like the devices were listening. And, like, they were getting ready to leave one time. And then, you know, they just talk shit about my country. And then I just was like, oh yeah, you guys are lucky because you guys got Bojo, Boris Johnson. You guys love him. He was like, nah, fuck no. He's like laughing. And then the American dude, he was like, who's Boris? And I was like, that's their Joe Biden. They love him out there. He's like, fuck no, I hate him. I was like, see, he's laughing because they love him. And then he was like, man, if I ever saw him, I'd probably just fuck his shit up. If I ever saw him, I'll probably just fuck his shit up. But yeah, he was saying that shit, and yeah, there's no way that he wasn't being listened to by Google and all the big tech censors, um, the people who are trained to squash whatever rebellion arises. So it's just like I pray for him. Um, that he's safe, but it was just kind of funny pulling their leg because yeah, they uh the other American dude, like he was just like say he was very I mean it was I fuck with him. He was like interesting, but when it came to a lot of stuff, he just sounded like he just watched a little too much CNN and Fox News or CNN and MSNBC. It was just like yeah, just um the confusion that you can vote for any of the Republicrats and the world will get better. Yeah, Donald Trump is bad. Joe Biden is not a solution to that. I'm anti. I can count above three, and that's what he would. They kept coming up like, yeah, you got to vote for one of them. Like, no, I can count above three. If it's just if none of them are appealing, like 2020, I couldn't even fucking get with the Green Party. Howie Hawkins was garbage. Um, so it's just like it's nobody to vote for. I don't go. I'm just going to organize, community organizing, and like create some kind of a movement so we can get something done locally. Um, but yeah, I'm not going to be. It's just interesting, because you see some of the lines. No part of me believe that Joe Biden got 80 million fucking votes. No part of me believes that. Um, But if anybody did take the time to vote for someone like Joe Biden, thinking they're going to make the world better, uh, that was your plan was foolhardy, and we're not making America look better by getting rid of Trump and replacing him with Joe Biden. It just looks like we like voting for old racist motherfuckers who promise they're not as racist as we know them to be. It's almost an election year. Do you think there will be any more lockdowns? Oh man, they're already forecasting them. They're already hyping up, the next respiratory virus. Bill Gates already said, there's going to be another pandemic. He's invested in the solution, and some people will say that he also invested in creating the problem. But you know what? We're not going to go into those conspiracy truths. Um, do you think they would actually try that again? I think they definitely would try. I don't think it's going to be as successful because even people I know who fell for everything hook, line, and sinker the first time. Like, they are some of the most militant motherfuckers because they believe the shit. And then they start to realize they were being lied to, and now they're just like, no. And the people who didn't believe it the first time, who avoided all the injections from criminal organizations that should be out of power, that should be dismantled and have all their patents just revoked since they're created by our tax dollars. The people who didn't trust these evil corporations, none of them are like, man, I wish I would have just got all 12 boosters that they want me to have right now. I wish I was just staying up to date on all my boosters because now, like, for me to get the shot, I should just get all 12 shots, like, right now. Everybody I know who got it, like, they didn't get the disease. It's not like they got it more or they got sicker when they got sick. Even though, some people have the experience of seeing all the people who stayed most up to date with the shots um, being the most sick. So that's kind of my experience. I don't know, it's anecdotal. You might have something similar. But yeah, it's. There is some evidence. It's like a Cleveland study where it's just like that. That's kind of what they were able to prove empirically. But you know what? We can't go into that. The obviously the medical stuff was sound. That's why Google shut down 3 of my channels for questioning it, even though they were directly invested in a lot of these companies. but then you could argue that they're directly invested in most things since they were started with our tax dollars. Google, Gmail might as well stand for government mail because it is owned by the government. That's why they have unlimited funds to buy any company. They can like buy patents to hella shit that existed way before Google, and then shut down their competition because they are just a monopolist wet dream. Because not only do they have the unlimited money, they have the full support of the government behind them because, yeah, the government created them. People in the government use them to silence people who point out how corrupt our government is. So it's just, yeah. I mean, I'm happy to see like there's a lot of lawsuits being lodged at Google, and some of them are making some serious ground. And I just look forward to the day when these motherfuckers are out of business and they have to pay reparations to people who they censored, silenced, like they kill people's livelihoods, people who are making a living off of that shit. And you know, when you don't cater to their whims, their very evil fucking whims, they will silence you. They will shut you down. And we should be celebrating certain people. But, you know, Google, that algorithm might as well be just Al Capone. Because it is violent, but it's violent towards the righteous. 81 million votes. Yeah, I believe that. I could believe 81 million people took time out of their busy week and went to vote for Joe Biden. They saw him smelling all those little girls. They saw his son's laptop being leaked, him smoking crack with prostitutes and all that shit. They're like, I want that man who pushed for a war that killed one of his sons. He's good. He's obviously a good father. He's taking showers with his daughter well into her teenage years, you know, making sure he's got her back literally. Like with the loofah, everything, just, you know, she's got some interesting diary entries about that. And, you know, of course, Hunter always got a good job. Always. And he's so busy on these amazing jobs that pay so much money. That's why he's smoking the crack, because it's just giving him the pick me up. So he could, you know, work at Burisma. You know, he's like parlaying with some of the more important Nazis in the Ukraine. So yeah, Joe Biden, he knows how to raise his kids. So it makes sense that they make him a president. You know, he's got the crackhead, he's got the son that died in this war, and his daughter who clearly was sexually abused by him. Good guy. And outside of his own kids, he's sniffing other people's kids. You know, just making sure that they got the good GMO, genetically modified washing equipment. You know, that they got a herbal rinse. I don't know. He just likes smelling kids. It's definitely a rhyme and reason to why he does it. I have a heart condition. I didn't feel like risking a heart attack to prevent a bad flu. LOL. Yeah. Well, it's not really a heart attack you got to worry about. I mean, yes, they heart conditions do go up. Just coincidentally, nothing to do with the shot, even though it is just people who get the shot. I think the heart conditions happen because they're so excited that they have protection from COVID. But I have a cousin who got the shot, and she had a clot that ended up causing a stroke. When she went to the hospital, one of the first things they had to ask was, "Oh, did you get the shot?" And the reason they had to ask that was because what happened to her was common to people who got the shot. So but you really can't go into detail. It is a YouTube video streaming, and like I said, they'll shut this shit down. They shut down three channels on that. I mean, four channels altogether, but three channels for me being critical of the drug that they were directly invested in. They have the ability to shut down anybody questioning the shit that they're invested in. And that just makes me want to buy up 911. So then, I can go out, commit crimes, and then if someone calls the police on me, I just like, oh, you calling on the dude with the red shirt? It's not. You can't use my service. You can't, like, I can murder someone and just get away with it, because when someone who views it calls 911, I just shut them down, and then I have a way of tracking them, and I can go to their house and take out all witnesses. It makes sense. I understand why the government bought Google, so they can, like, protect themselves from being exposed. Yeah, but there was because I ended up, like, looking into as for the subject matter, I was looking for, like, background for just getting more foreigners' opinions on America, like from, like, a broader than three foreigners base. So I came across something, and it was that there were people just pointing out their perspective on how they view America, if they weren't born in America. And one other thing, the UK dude, he was like, one of the first things he noticed when he came to the US was, he was like, all these fucking bloody ads for like, like, are you depressed? It's like everything is a drug that'll make you feel good. It's like, this drug is gonna make you feel great. Are you, like, feeling bad? It's gonna make you feel great. You feel amazing after you take this drug. And we, like, side effects include, like, suicidal aviations and like anal leaking and just all these atrocious potential side effects, which are you'll probably feel the side effects of especially when it comes to, like, antidepressant, when one of the side effects is suicide. It doesn't sound like it's doing its job. In other countries that's illegal. I mean, for the most part, I think New Zealand is the only other country that allows medical like pharmaceutical companies to advertise. But we don't need a for-profit medical system, because like we see the drugs that are profitable. It's the drugs that destroy communities. They got pill mills for opioid based drugs. These motherfuckers, they were proven to be criminals, like pushing stuff that did not work as advertised, and they got people addicted to shit. And it's just like the most anyone got was a fine, no jail time. So it's like getting a speeding ticket on your way to $1 billion. It's like nothing, If you've proven to be that criminal, I mean, you should have no money. You should have just, like, prison time, right? You shouldn't be able to, like, walk away still a billionaire when you engaged in criminal acts and you did all this thieving of public resources to acquire your wealth. So, yeah, it is. I understand being a laughingstock is. I mean, I gotta laugh at it too, because I was born in America. Technically, I'm not American. Americans have freedom of speech and all kinds of shit. I'm a Turtle Islander. That's what the natives call North America. I'm born in this country, but it's far from American. But I did not vote for any of these debacle presidents. But yeah, the one of the things that, because I was watching this video, and people were just, like, offering their 2 cents on how you're looking at an American when you're in another country. And one of the things they were saying, and this is something that made me just like, well, this I can't get it to go. But they were saying, it's an American when they drink their coffee in one of those to-go cups. Because it was an Italian woman who made the observation that Americans are the only people who don't just sit down and drink their coffee in a cafe. It's like they got to have coffee on the go because we got like 13 jobs and we still struggling. It's like you're on your fifth job for the day. You've been working 26 hours in a span of 24 hours somehow. And yeah, after all that work, you're still struggling. Um, and of course, it's like this by design. But yeah, and it was, but like I just kept telling the international clan, I was like, nah, I do believe Americans are waking up to it. Because it's just like it's certain shit is just become so in your face and blatant. It's like obvious. We're being lied to. We're being controlled. And like I said, some of the most militant people when it comes to um, possibilities of like the next step, like when you were asking about if they're gonna pull shit like they did in 2020 with lockdowns and shit. The people who will be pushing back the most are the people who bought everything hook, line, and sinker the first time. Um, well, and I'm still gonna be pushing like a motherfucker because, like I said, no part of me um, regrets my choice to do the natural um, uh, vaccine. I did the same vaccine as my cootie shot. Because the same manufacturer it's not for profit. Their whole thing is just is to help people. So if you don't know where you can get one of these cootie shot vaccines, it's circle circle dot dot. Now I have my COVID shot, and then circle circle square square. Now I got it everywhere. That's your booster. You can do that like every 5 weeks. No harmful chemicals. Everything is safe because it's filled with imagination, and it's you have better outcomes than people who go with the mRNA based vaccine. So I would encourage you guys to all get on that page. Shut up and eat your bugs, peasant. Will do. I'm already happy because I own nothing. Yeah, and I just look forward because there's going to be comeuppance, and we are one of the more violent countries in the world, right? That's just it just becomes a matter of taking those would-be school shooters. Like they got a lot of rage and anger just in their body. That's how they can like do something so atrocious, so fucking unforgivable, kill an innocent child. I just can't comprehend it, right? And I think the second we can like figure out how to convey to them, like if you were to like let's say go to a World Economic Forum or a Davos or something like that, and you just happen to have like one of these automatic rifles or something, you were on some kind of a perch situation, and you just started picking off like 1 billionaire, 2 billionaires, just like somehow you just got through all the billionaires, yeah, your story would be remembered a lot differently than if you were just like go to a public school and kill a bunch of poor children. Like you're just gonna like turn yourself into an evil person. I'm saying killing people is wrong regardless. However, I think if you like chose to go after a different target, your target audience would change. And if you start like killing people at Davos, World Economic Forum, like if somehow you were to be taken down by the police, guaranteed, like one of if you're surrounded by a few poor people, one of them's gonna pick up the gun and just finish your work. Um, just something to consider. I don't know how many potential school shooters are watching my video. I hope you choose no violence. But if you got like some Dexter situation where you gotta kill somebody, it's just like you were raised in America. All you saw was like death and destruction. That you were recruited by the military, and they got you on a regiment to kill, and now you gotta get it out somehow. And you were thinking about killing these kids. Just get that out of your head. Don't. I hope you don't kill anybody. But if you do have just that urge, you just like the trigger fingers, just like I gotta shoot. Give me something to shoot. Just go to holler at me. Like send me a DM. I'll try to raise some money for you to get to Davos or World Economic Forum. You can get to one of their charities. We can get you to the new Epstein Island. We can get you somewhere where your curse won't be so burdensome for our society. We don't want to have like another memorial for dead kids. But if like a few billionaires found their demise, I'm not saying we'll be celebrating. I wouldn't be celebrating personally. But would there be some dancing in the street? I don't know, maybe. Like you can have the news like replaying all the evil shit that they said. Klaus Schwab talking about people will own nothing and be happy. All this transhumanist shit. I mean, it would be. I don't want to say poetic, because like I said, don't kill anybody. But if you just got that murderous rage, that bloodlust, I will personally pay for you to go to Davos. Personally, just World Economic Forum, that's yours. So just holler at me. That's why Frank and Jesse James were celebrated outlaw, because they were robbing the railroad companies that were abusing the poor people. Oh man, and it's funny, because I was working with this cat. He was related to Pretty Boy Floyd. Now, if you don't know the story of Pretty Boy Floyd, he was a robber who would go into banks, and then he'd just start burning up mortgages. So the bank would have no record of the money owed for the houses in the area. So like they'd burn all these mortgages, and the people just own their houses. And there's a bunch of people, because around the Depression era, you had banks walking into people's houses, just cavalierly taking it. But then you also had communities coming together. Like if someone was at work and then the sheriff came, then it would be like a bunch of his neighbors, her neighbors showing up with guns, like, hey, leave their shit alone. They stay here, We definitely got to bring that sense of community back. Or just have just think of how dope it would be if in 2008 we had like a modern day Pretty Boy Floyd, during the subprime mortgage crisis, and they just zeroed out all of the debts of the poor people. Government couldn't do it. I mean, the president damn sure could have. This is one of the reasons why I couldn't fuck with Barack Obama a second time. But if we didn't have the government on our side, but if we would have had Pretty Boy Floyd, that would have been a beautiful thing. And then also, because he wasn't the only one. You also had, what is it? Johnny Depp played him in John Dillinger. His whole thing, he was like, I robbed the banks rob us all the time. What's the big deal? And I was reading a book on the history of the FBI around that time. When you had people who were sympathetic to the bank robbers, FBI realized that they need to like change their image, so they started a bunch of propaganda glorifying FBI agents, even though FBI agents were never should have never been glorified. They're always evil. That's always been their thing. Like you want to talk about diversity first. Black FBI agents were only brought on so they can infiltrate Marcus Garvey's movement and bring that shit down from the inside. And then you look at the Panthers, all the infiltrators, including Bill O'Neill, one who got Fred Hampton killed, and all kind. I mean, it's way more than that. That's just one they got a movie on, and he ended up killing himself after doing an interview in the '80s about it. But they ended up giving him a gas station, so his reward was a lifetime job selling the government's murder juice. The shit that we go to war and kill for. We bring it back so he like enforce him to sell it. That's his reward for killing a legendary activist, someone who's literally dedicating their life to making the world better. But yeah, we definitely need to invert our morals and start to realize that the government's the bad guy. All the people who are telling you who to hate, who to spend trillions of dollars to kill, the killers, the people who just want to spend money to kill people and don't want to give you health care. They don't want to give you housing. They don't want to like give you unpoisoned water. Those are the evil people. It's not going to be Russia. It's not going to be China. I mean, I got my issues with all governments. But first government we need to take out is our own. They do not have our interests at heart, and yeah, very very evil. It would have actually been cheaper to pay all the bad mortgages off than to bail out Wall Street. Yes, it would have. Not only would it be cheaper, it would just like be immensely better for society. And then like right now because they just we made them bolder, right? And this is the issue I have, like because a lot of people, they call these people elite, the elites of society, apex parasites. Let's just be clear about the terminology. It's important because like I said, they create nothing. You know how your economy is over when you have a fire, when it's on fire. When it's fire, finance, insurance, real estate. FIRE. Yeah, because it's just like your economy is based on nothing, moving zeros. You're not creating anything. It's speculation. It's like the stuff that, okay, people need land. They need land to survive, so we'll hoard this shit. We'll raise up the prices, and people will have to buy it. But it's just like, okay, this money, you're accumulating all this money. What can you get with it locally? It's dependent on us, like, having connections with other countries like China that ship us everything because they make everything, right? And then we start, like, pissing off China. We start, like, just poking the bear when it comes to them. And it's just like, we're run by the most insane psychopaths, short-sighted, evil. And, yeah, they don't create anything. But they have all the money, and our money is becoming as worthless as they are. And then, yeah, they want us to hate everybody. Even though we start a war with China, we go hungry. We go without basic necessities because, like I said, we're shipping everything. And then, it's not like other countries aren't, like, coming together to just stand up against us. That's what BRICS is, all this shit. And I want to join BRICS. Like, me personally, they might not fuck with my government, but I'm trying to get away from these slave note bills. I've been trying to do that for a minute. So yeah, let me get some of that BRICS currency. I'll use ruples or rubies, whatever the fuck. But yeah, I'm with the rest of the world and standing against my country. I'm. If Joe Biden is on your team, you picked the wrong team. Especially if you believe that he's actually leading your team. Yeah, I got a bridge to sell you. Um, but anyways, there is yeah, I'm approaching. Well, I've been started too late. This is I started the time I would usually definitely be getting off at, but I'm gonna make up for it. I'm gonna do like another live stream some point in the week. So I appreciate you guys showing up. I just wanted to share my experience and just let the all of the people out there who are they understand the government's fucked up. They don't trust the government at all. They see all the evil shit that they can do. But they feel the need to preface it like, oh man, yeah, because Trump did this to us, even though Trump ain't been in office for almost 4 years. Like next year is an election year, and it's gonna go on forever. It's gonna be 12 years. Next year is gonna be literally 12 years. They're just wall to wall. Joe's cool, or they might dump Joe because, um, he's. I mean, some people think he's a puppet, like an actual like Muppet, like leather clad Muppet or whatever. Um, some people think he's got like Alzheimer's, which I think is ridiculous. Me, I think he's a drug addict. I mean, definitely partaking in crack. That's where Hunter got his crack addiction. But I also think he's on that fentanyl. That's why he was nodding out when he was talking to it was the president of Israel. He was like just he looked like he was falling asleep, but that was just that fentanyl nod. He's kneeling, is what they say. The kids are saying. They say they're kneeling, like you kneeling. I'm kneeling like Magellan, something like that. That's like the new terminology. I'm glad I caught you live. Toodles, everyone. I'm glad you caught me live as well. It's beautiful. I wasn't sure if anybody would show up because normally if I go in after 5, it's like hit or miss if anyone shows up. So that's why it's like 5 is usually the sweet spot. But I'm glad I caught you. I'm glad you caught me. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. And until next time, be good to each other. Toodles.